Just a few housekeeping notes. If you can go ahead and stay muted through the duration, you can ask questions in the chat and we will try to answer those as we go. And then at the end, we should have enough time for Q&A. So you will have time to unmute and ask questions. We'll record this so that we can post it later for anyone who missed something and wants to rewatch it, or anyone who wasn't able to make it to watch. And I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna go ahead and get started with Dr. Dotson.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is great to see you on our first YuZoom of the spring 2024 semester. Before we get too far into our meeting, I wanted to read our abbreviated land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that Yuba College sits on the unceded land of the Nishanan people. We recognize their ongoing connection to this region and commit to amplifying their voice to pursue federal recognition. We offer our respect to the elders and to all Nishanan people of the past, present, and future. With that, to kick us off for our first YuZoom of the spring, we have with us the former Yuba Sutter Youth Poet Laureate. Some of you got to see her at Convocation, and she's going to briefly perform for us this afternoon today, Selma Alfaqui.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. Today I have 4 poems that I'm going to be reading. Those are, the last 2 are part of the series, so they're related, and then these first 2 are just kind of freestanding. This first one is called Tattoos. I have an X over each rib where you touched me, 24 crosses for fingertips to split open. And I trace them sometimes without knowing, but even the memory makes me itch. When I come away holding blood, I try to shove it back inside of myself, and if I come away holding nothing, I do the same. My scars can't compare to dirty ink, sewing needles, each new breath a violation of the covenant beneath my shirt. So that is Tattoos. This next piece is called Pigs to the Slaughter, and I'm keeping track, I'm keeping score. Kill us once and then once more. Kill us until the blood is sweet, untainted, still feeding on mother's milk, until you can run through your fields without us underfoot. Kill us so you cannot again. Kill us so the violence will end us so that we will be remembered as pigs to the slaughter, unholy. So that is Pigs to the Slaughter. And then, as I mentioned, those last 2 were sort of freestanding on their own. And these last 2 are each part of a series, or excuse me, they're part of the same series, kind of focusing on familial relations, specifically as the daughter of 2 immigrants, and kind of how, I don't want to say generational trauma, but the way that things affecting an older generation will still have those effects kind of trickle down to the newer generations. So this first one is called Dreams Interpreted. There's a book called 12,000 Dreams Interpreted, which I interpret to be a waste of time, paper, money, and soul. The idea of a dream having deeper meaning is not a new one, but the idea of the subconscious hiding a dream from the conscious mind is, excuse me, bullshit. I have been dreaming my entire life. My mother has been dreaming her entire life, and my abuela, who dreamt her entire life, is just a dream, one that I found floating across my mind this year, unconscious, into pretty words that I've gutted myself to write. We, a strong line of dreamers, do not have the luxury of afterthought. Instead, we dream on sheets of paper, and those papers get turned into fire and frown lines, save for the few that live in our minds. And that has been my year, turning unrealized dreams into pretty poems I can't say out loud, bearing the weight of an adult conscious and uninterpretable dreams, and music, songs that I can't sing without tears, trying to find a ghost in the rhythm that flows between now and then, here and there. This has been my year, writing our stories before they are little more than dreams. Once again, that was Dreams Interpreted. And then this next one is, again, part of that same series, and it's called Story of Hope in 4 stanzas. 1. I carve the 3rd day of my youth from a shaking mountain. I pry ethanol breath from menthol lungs, carving the empty space of a heart into our chest. Have I earned the right to ignore you yet? 2. I don't know where I will be buried, only that I will. And that I will hold my mother's hands before I go, that I will etch my name on my father's bones or my sister's teeth. 3. This bleeding is 7 years in the making. Leeches don't take enough to heal me. Blood is a commodity of ghosts or lovers, or both. 4. Why did you bother to write this? Because my mother paid my plane fare. Because we are born of primordial goo. Because I think my family loves me, and because I think I love them. Thank you.
That was fantastic, Selma. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
guys so much for having
performing.
me.
We deeply appreciate the color that you've brought to our events this year, and have enjoyed continuing to work with you. So thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I've really enjoyed being here. Well, being here, I guess, in this case.
Yeah. All right, we're going to transition now to the update section of our meeting, and I'm going to kick us off. I want to start off with our safety update of the month. Hopefully, many of you have had an opportunity to participate in the second round of active assailant training. You might recall that we did have a series of active assailant trainings during the professional development week in August, and then committed to providing some additional training during this spring semester's PD week. And I know that those trainings were ongoing yesterday as I saw a group participating. I appreciate those who have been able to make that a priority. This last 2 months or so and moving forward, we have been working to strengthen our crisis communication planning and protocol. We have established a monthly test of the Catapult system, which is the notification system that we use to warn our college community when something is happening, text messages and phone calls. We also have established a training plan with a group of individuals responsible for sending out those communications. We've been working on preparing template messages for a broad group of emergencies, and then have been doing an almost weekly tabletop rehearsal of the messaging process. So we talk through different emergencies, talk about how we'll get notified and what kinds of things we need to be prepared to communicate as we move through. In just a few minutes, Annabelle Toche and Crystal Gilming are going to give you an update on some of that I just shared with you. I do want to share that Annabelle and Crystal and then Dr. Tarish are the 3 individuals who are the primary, the backup, and the backup to the backup for emergency communication. And so it's the 4 of us that have been working through a lot of the things that I just described. Before we do that, I do want to make note to the college community about some specific progress that has happened. As a college community, we made commitments in our educational master plan for things that we were going to do or accomplish. 2 key items are coming to fruition, and you're going to hear about them today. The first is that I'm using the word navigators, or our student success navigator positions are posted for hiring, and Dr. Tarish is going to talk just real briefly about that. And then we made a commitment to do some redesign work on our website, some student-focused redesign work to help students navigate information about our academic programs and get the kinds of things they need to make good informed decisions. And you will get an update from Dr. Brown here shortly about that. Want to remind you that the Chancellor does continue to hold his open door opportunities, and the next one is February 21st from 9 a.m. to noon. We would encourage you to participate in those, even if you just stop by to say hello. I know that he appreciates the company and getting to see you all face to face. So this is an early heads up, but it could be a significant impact to our community as a whole. We had our first opportunity to meet with the Yuba County engineers who are designing North Beale Road Phase 3. Phase 3 of the North Beale Road redesign is from Linda Avenue to just past what is now a gravel road, but is called the other half of Linda Avenue. But more importantly, it's the entire front of Yuba College, Marysville. That redesign will include repaving North Beale Road, adding medians, sidewalks, and additional lighting. It could potentially include some adjustments to the way that we can turn into and out of our campus as well, which is one of the things under design. All of these things were designed to improve safety and security on North Beale Road, and they certainly will impact the look and the feel of the entrances to our Marysville campus. The design project is expected to be finished this spring. There is a potential, because the project is already fully funded, that it could start construction as early as the summer 2024. The current target is the summer of 2025. So I'm giving you a very early heads up because as we continue to move toward spring semester, things get very busy, particularly in the April and May timeframe. And we may get some very quick notice that there's going to be an impact to the college community. So I want to communicate early and often about that potential impact. I want to make sure we are all aware that our next YuZoom is February 7th at 4 p.m. Quick turnaround, certainly, but we start our YuZoom in January a little bit late with the start of spring semester. And then I want to just throw out some additional kudos. The college has new maps. So oftentimes the map that you see is a pretty old graphic that wasn't representing the actual buildings that existed at our Marysville and Sutter County centers. But the new maps were designed collaboratively, and they are posted on our website. And soon, within the next few days, the stanchions at our Marysville campus that used to have the old map on them will have the new maps installed. The old maps were removed, the stanchions were painted, and the new ones will be installed, we hope. Obviously, the weather, I think, is creating some maybes, but we're certainly hoping they'll be able to get those installed quickly. So I want to recognize particularly Annabelle Toche, who has been working on this project consistently, and then the support of Crystal Gilming and Romel Villalobos, who is the graphic designer who assisted with creating those maps. But if you go to our website and go to the campus maps page, you'll see that there are new and improved, better maps available for your use there. They include a lot of really helpful information, like the locations of gender neutral restrooms, the location of water filling stations, etc. So it's much, much improved. Thank you to that group. I also want to recognize our group of classified professionals who are continuing their work on the Caring Campus initiative. And today I'm going to actually call out specifically Riley Hang's leadership in that initiative. There is a great group of people who are all doing some really exceptional work, and we will continue to call out their names and recognize them. But Riley was approached by a group of us to potentially get the band back together. And she really has been going above and beyond in providing leadership for that group, creating meetings and being a visionary and a voice and a proud cheerleader and a leader and a director. And I just want to really publicly thank her for everything that she's doing to support that committee moving forward. So Riley, thank you very much. We are also going to hear more about timely care today, but I also want to just say Anita Wilkes, Annabelle Toche, and Crystal Gilming's names. We have actually tried to implement timely care before in the midst of the pandemic. And one of our struggles was not ensuring we had a well-planned and intentional rollout and implementation plan. Certainly impacted by the fact that we were in the middle of a pandemic and transitioning to Zoom services. But one of the things that I've really appreciated about all of Student Services leadership in approaching this timely care rollout is being careful and considerate about how we do it and where we do it and when we do it. And I'm already seeing the intentional efforts of the rollout campaign, communicating to students consistently and having resources available. And again, you're going to hear about that more. So I wanted to just say their names out loud and thank them for their work they are doing. That's all the updates from me. So we're going to transition back to talking a little bit about emergency communications, and I'm going to turn it over to Annabelle and Crystal.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to present an update on how we communicate about Catapult. The first week of school is usually the week every semester that you'll be hearing or seeing an email come out. And so on Monday, when you're busy in your classes, getting things ready, please look for an email that'll be sent to all at UBA, including all students, to please enroll or update your information for Catapult's text messages. And so then on Friday, you will receive an actual text message to test that you are receiving those messages on your phone. You can also update it at any point, but we just tend to do it the first week of school as part of a campaign to get the word out. So same thing with your students. You might see them kind of, I got this text message, but I didn't. So it's also a reminder to go on the website and please sign up for Catapult messages. This is the way if there's any emergency on campus, or any type of emergency, even off campus, if the power goes out and we're doing things different, they will be receiving a text messaging through Catapult. And now I'm going to hand it off to Crystal for the next slide.
Annabelle. So as Annabelle said, with Catapult, we do have the ability to update, or if you find out for any reason that any of your students or any of your coworkers are not signed up to receive emergency text, they can actually go onto our website and do so. We actually make it nice and large and big. We are actually going to be putting out QR codes at the beginning of school during welcome week, and those will be posted around campus as well as at the welcome tables for people to scan a QR code so they can get directly to this website. In case of an emergency, we are working very hard to make sure that there is clear communication that when there is an emergency. So you will see an alert very similar to this one. Depending on the emergency, it might vary a little bit, but it'll be definitely obvious that there is an emergency. And so that's how you'll know that it is not just a test or anything like that, that this is an actual real emergency. And then we have many ways for you to receive accurate information. So you can go onto the website, Instagram, students can go to Canvas, or instructors can as well. You will receive an email, as well as there'll be communication through the app as well. So if there's any questions, please let us know, but we do want to make sure that everybody is staying informed. And if you do, for some reason, if you're finding out that nobody's receiving any communications, encourage them to sign up and to also get on social media as well. And I think I'm going to hand it over to Jeremy.
Thank you, Crystal. Okay, so some general instruction office updates. First, welcome Dr. Alan Dixon, our new Dean of CTE and Workforce Development. He joined us at the beginning of this calendar year. I sent an email to introduce him, but also wanted to take this moment to welcome him as our newest team member in instruction. I also wanted to highlight a couple of new grants that we received. We learned about sort of recently. First, there is the OER-ZTC grant. We learned so we have between kind of the early basic information and then the implementation grant and now the acceleration grants that were received thanks to the great work of our affordable learning materials work group. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $700,000 for online open educational resources and the development of zero textbook pathway work. So the main projects for the acceleration grants are going to be focused on environmental science, soil conservation, GIS, and watershed management. But the way that the work group looked at those was to develop GE pattern courses that would allow other programs to at least have that GE pathway to also help meet the needs of other programs. We also learned that our consortium for adult education was awarded the Adult Education ELL Healthcare Pathways Grant. And we applied as part of that to turn two of our programs to develop curriculum in two of our programs into non-credit adult education opportunities for ELL, English language learners, in EMT and Human Services Chemical Dependency Counseling. We had faculty partners in both of those areas who were interested in doing that work. And so we put our effort into that opportunity and we were awarded a grant there. I learned today that there is additional funding that will likely be allocated in these areas in the near future. And so us being on the front side of this is going to be beneficial as we look to that additional funding. We also have new resources that I am sharing now, and the deans and directors should be sharing at their division and department meetings as well. I want to make sure we get this message out there, so we'll also make sure students and faculty are aware, but we have some low-cost textbook support. So printed course materials like your course handbooks, lab manuals, are free to students who are registered in those courses to purchase in the bookstore. We have a PO that has been established with the bookstore, working through some of the logistics right now, but if they go to buy them through the bookstore, it will be charged to that PO. And if students had already purchased them, we will work to make sure that they can come and get a reimbursement, and that charge will be charged to that account as well. We will also be doing OER printed materials, supporting printing for that. But you'll work with your dean or director to request that once you identify how many sets per course you are going to need. And then Scantrons, we are making sure that all Scantrons are now free for students. So we have set up a budget with the bookstore for this as well. That students, if they come into the bookstore to buy them, it will be charged to that budget. But we're also buying a set from the bookstore that will be in division and department offices, as well as the libraries and tutoring spaces. And if there's an office that would like some, please reach out and let us know. Next, I would like to do a quick high-level overview of the updates to our website in the area of interest and academic program web pages. I promise it won't take too long. So first, we have launched a new area of interest landing page that talks about all of our areas of interest. I am not going to show you all of the functionality, but when you look at this, you can hover over each of the areas and it'll show you the different program areas, disciplines within each. This is meant to give students, this is meant for a student-focused kind of new student mentality, trying to share what are our programs of study. And it is using our areas of interest that have been agreed to and vetted through different governance bodies a few years ago now. But these are live on the website. It does show kind of some key words that help students understand kind of at the surface level what that program area, the area of interest is about. And we also have a link to a quiz that helps students explore their area of interest or their career interests. Next up, if we dive into one specific page on an area of interest, this is looking at the arts, language, and communications area. It's got a tab for each area with a picture that we worked to identify a picture that somewhat gave a representation of that area. I know that there are still going to be some feedback about pictures that might be better. Please send those through your dean or director so that that feedback can be gathered and shared with my office to help with editing and updates. But this is meant to get us some initial information, and it's meant to capture that early information about this is a group of programs within that area of interest. But we also, on the left-hand side here, have all of the areas of interest for them to go and find, you know what, this isn't the area for me. I want to go look at this one over here instead. It also has the points of contact. And when we talk about student success navigators in a bit, eventually that will be another point of contact for some of these areas. So then when we get into a specific program, we've got more detail up at the top that talks about what that program really is about and what it's meant to lead to. And then we've got some buttons that will push you down to different areas on that page. But really here's where we talk about what you're going to be expected to do and in what sequence to complete that program. These program maps were developed or updated by our counselors. We've had different starts at doing our program maps, and we've had different iterations of our program maps. And so four of our counselors, Cheryl Latimer, Valerie Harris, Lori Dobush, and Karen Qualls, agreed to a special project to really take this on and finish out those program maps for this project, as well as for getting into self-service, so that we could have clear and complete program maps for every single one of our programs on our website. And so these are here. They will also need to be kind of reviewed and revised and updated as we go along. But we have a general idea now, and students can have a general idea, and each of these are printable for students. Next, we have a careers area. And this careers area has a lot of functionality. RadTech has one career listed, but a lot of the other programs have many, many careers. And they have different, when you click through them, they'll have different salary projections and different numbers of openings and employed, as well as if you look here, I think, can you see my mouse waving around? You'll see it says Yuba Sutter County. That's a drop-down menu, and you can actually identify different regions. The regions we have so far are Yuba Community College District Service Area, Greater Sacramento area, the Northern California region, national. So we have a few different areas. And then you can also visit Career Coach to get much more information, and I'll show you that a little bit. And then we also still have the contacts down here. Where there is a faculty program coordinator, that person was listed. And if there was not, we did not list any faculty. We also have departments that had academic department pages, and we did not want to lose that information. We are going to work in the next phase to bring that into the same kind of design as our area of interest pages. But for now, we've added those to the general academics page, and the links are here. So we've got like nursing has a page that has application materials. And so that's on the health occupations page. There's a link directly to nursing. When it comes time for that nursing application, that's going to be a highlight item. So I'm going to work with Annabelle and Crystal to make sure that we come up with some way to feature that on the homepage or find a way to make sure that it's easily accessible for students during that window. But we're going to keep these here so that students and all of you still have direct access to those department pages. And all of the links that you might have in syllabi or anywhere else still should work. So you can test those, but they should still work. When it comes to Career Coach, this offers an actual career assessment that is aligned when you get your results. I actually did it myself, and it's aligned to our programs of study. And it shows you what program at our college you might want to go into, gives you a list of options, and some careers that might lead you to. You can look at it either career-wise or program-wise, but you can do a quick 6 questions, 30 questions, or 60 questions, depending on how long you want to take. Mine basically told me my job, so it works. This is kind of looking at what it looks like when you look at the specific programs. Environmental science, the top career there was environmental compliance inspector. And so it talks about what are some careers in that area. You can also from this page see program info, tuition, and starting the application. And when you look at the actual career, it talks about what are the job openings? This is the region, kind of like on that other page, you can change regions that you're looking at. But then when you actually go into live job postings, you can see where they're hiring for this job in our region. So this is a really important tool for students who are coming to look at our program and see, are they actually hiring for this in our region? And so this is a great resource as we move forward. So now I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Bagley and Professor Schulte.
Thank you, Jeremy, Dr. Brown. That was fantastic. Hard to follow up on that one. So exciting to see the program study and the outcomes areas, the webpage improvements. But I'm going to do my best. I have here, I'm doing the spotlight, division spotlight, and I am so excited to share that I have Professor Bruce Schulte here. Some of you have seen him. He's got a great smile. He's got a lot of energy, and he participates a lot on campus of different things. But I'd like to share some information you may not know. He started off with a master's in science and electrical engineering at UCLA, and he took doctoral coursework at one of the premier universities for physics, University of Arkansas. He has started off in what I call the engineering field as a radar systems engineer. When I looked at the number of planes he's worked on, including the U-2, I was quite impressed. I see why the students love him for the rocket project that he's done recently with advanced manufacturing here at Yuba College. Mm-hmm. After his long, great career in the STEM workforce, he started teaching at community colleges. He's been teaching for over 20 years. He's been a full-time instructor at Woodland College, Antelope Valley College, and at Pulaski Technical College in Arkansas. But I feel like we've stolen him. I will share that he actually knew Jeremy and his family, so I thank Jeremy for helping me get Professor Schulte. He came into my office. He's so excited to be here. If we go to the next page, it's got a cool picture I want to have him talk about. If we can scroll, there we go. One more thing before I let Professor Schulte come in here. Physics classes are often the gatekeeper with math into going into engineering and other applied fields. Professor Schulte's student success rate among male and female students is some of the best I've ever seen. And his classes are full all the time. And we're our program in STEM division is better because we have them. So I'd like Professor Schulte to come in and talk a little bit about this photo and some things that he's doing with NASA. Bruce?
Yeah, I'm Bruce Schulte. I'll move over just a little bit. I've enjoyed my entire time here. I arrived on campus in August of 2020 before school started. Michael walked me right on over to advanced manufacturing. I met Joe Bauer, and I got to hear first up, before we even talked about my classes, what Michael's dream was to coordinate advanced manufacturing with something in physics that the students would really like, that's high tech. And you're seeing a photo there of what it is, what came out last spring. That's the calculus-based first semester class. They all continued through. Two of those in the picture are current students at Berkeley succeeding. They graduated, and they started this fall. Our other EMP award winner, Ms. Mahi, Bhavna Mahi, did a lot of other things around Yuba College. The movement to incorporate Sikhs in our culture. She was real active. She's over at Santa Cruz, and all three of these students did summer internships. I'm interested in internships from all these companies that are destinations in all our programs, Jeremy. But anyways, a lot of good things have happened. We made a connection with Sonoma State that is completely unique. My students at Berkeley have found out that they need 5 semesters to graduate with their bachelor's. Sonoma State has a 4-semester, 2-year guarantee for our students to go in. And further, it has a bridges to the doctorate, which is to go to a UC. Sonoma State is a state university, not a UC. $15,000. That's a lot of money, for the type of students we have. So Michael and I, we visited there, and we will be recruiting heavily to get some students to go over there. Just to backtrack a little bit, my classes have been large. Shannon Reed called me over to Woodland College to teach full time. The existing professor was terminated, and I got to take over. So that's a nice little drive while teaching here, driving over there every day of the week. But that was similarly successful. I like integrating labs with the lectures. I did my research in physics for a professor who was the president of the American Association of Physics Teachers, which is quite prestigious. And just to conclude, I'm so grateful for the opportunity here at Yuba College to build things up and to get students going.
You could see his passion. We're all grateful to have you, Bruce. And I think I get to introduce Dr. Teresh next.
Thank you. Thank you for that spotlight. I am, as usual, the opening act for my student services teams. I've got a couple of things to go through. As a reminder to everybody, student services has been very busy all month. We came back January 2nd, and the team, particularly in admissions and records, financial aid, DSPS, our programs all across both campuses have been working hard to onboard our students and provide advising through our counseling areas and enrolling students. So for our faculty who are part of our Zoom today, our instructors, please thank your local student services folks for helping getting students into your class, paying for those classes, and also on Monday knowing where to go to get into those classes. Our offices are going to be open on Saturday. We will be open from 10 to 2 on the Marysville campus. Another thing that our team members have been really actively working on is training and continuous learning on the new FAFSA process. There's also some changes to the application for admission through CCC Apply. So our team members are very committed to staying current in their areas that they support students. So as soon as there is an update, they learn about the process, they practice with it, and then they work with students on that. So they're working very hard to keep their content knowledge fresh to support our students. As Dr. Dotson mentioned, and as you heard in other venues, we're really excited to be hiring our navigators who are going to be instrumental as we continue to build towards student success teams. These are student success and support program specialists. And if you or someone you know might be interested in this position, the application closes on January 30th. And so be sure to look for student success support program specialist rather than the word navigator that we're using in conversation. But these new employees are going to help students with onboarding and feeling welcomed and connected to the institution. Will assist students with retention efforts, ongoing enrollment, and all the way to completion. And they'll be working in a caseload management style, assisting groups of students through their Yuba College process. And finally, our special programs like EOPS, MESA, and TRIO continue to recruit students for their programs. And I also want to give a big shout out and a kudos to TRIO because they're meeting their annual numbers. And during the pandemic, it's been so hard to get students connected to special programs. And this is not a Yuba College problem. This isn't even a California problem. Nationwide, TRIO programs have identified that they're really struggling to meet their numbers. And when colleges apply for grants, they identify the number of students they anticipate serving, and they're funded based on that. And we do annual reports. In fact, Carlos Gamez just submitted our annual reports today. And it's really exciting to be able to say that for the 23-24 academic year, all of our programs have met their numbers. This really goes to show what it takes when a program has some stability. Those programs had constant turnover, and we have an amazing team that we finally have been able to assemble, and we've had some stability, and students are benefiting from that stability. So thank you very much to our TRIO team. Next slide. All right, so a reminder, you've heard a couple places now about timely care, and we're really thrilled to be able to offer mental health services for our students. These are 24/7, 365 services for our students. And this is what we're hearing the most, that from you, from staff, from faculty, and from students, that they feel that they need greater access to mental health care. We have partnered again with Timely Care, and we're really fortunate that Timely Care they've been excited to work with us and create a custom package for us based on what we've been hearing are our students' needs. And so we're going to be able to provide 3 major areas of healthcare for students. A Talk Now feature where a student can call or go on the app and they can get connected with the first provider who's available to talk to them. They can also schedule an appointment in advance, and they get 12 free appointments per year. And then there are these self-care, self-paced modules that students can go through. They're called self-care journeys. And they are anything from yoga and healthy eating to relationship issues or substance abuse issues. This allows students to go through that on their own pace and on their own time. On Friday, we're going to go through a lot more details. We have a representative from Timely Care who's going to provide some training and orientation to help everybody understand how employees can make referrals to Timely Care. And so the information is there on the slide, but also in the PD schedule. So we hope that you will join us. Also, we will be sending information directly to YC All for faculty and staff so that you have the resources you need at your fingertips. So with all of that reviewed, I'm now going to turn it over to Ruth Catalan, who's going to talk about student YuZoom.
Thank you, Dr. Teresh. Hi, everyone. We'll be having all student Zoom meetings on Wednesday, January 24th at 5 p.m. and Thursday, January 25th at 12 p.m. We will be providing students with information on Timely Care, FAFSA, basic needs, ASYC, campus life, EOPS, CalWorks, Next Up, CARE, MESA, TRIO, Sutter County Center services. And we'll be providing, these sessions will be helpful to new and returning students. So please encourage students to attend the Zoom meeting so that they can be informed with what's going on at Marysville campus and at Sutter County Center. Also, if you haven't already, please sign up to help us with tabling during Welcome Week. I believe Dr. Dotson sent out an email earlier this week. We have plenty of slots available, so sign up if you can. And I believe I'm going to hand it over to Chris.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to keep you informed of what's going on in counseling. We are having drop-in services. We understand that sometimes students aren't able to schedule an appointment. So this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have had drop-in services from 8 to 5 p.m. And next week, during the first week of classes, we will have drop-in services Monday through Thursday. So students aren't sure what classes to take for spring, we're going to be available. If they have a probation petition that they need to be reviewed and submitted, we'll help them with that. A unit overload, a readmission petition, a prerequisite overdrive. Oh, I forgot, I need a financial aid or athletic educational plan or a veterans one. Come on in. We will also be helping students through Zoom. So when a student comes into the virtual office in counseling, they will be put on a waiting list. So we've had 2 days. We've seen about 85 students each day. So that is really exciting that these students are getting served. And the goal is for these students not to leave our campus without being enrolled in classes for the spring semester. So it's really exciting to see all these students and the excitement they have to be enrolled in classes at Yuba College. Next slide. I just wanted to give you this information. This is on Tuesday, February the 6th. We will be having California State University, Sacramento will be here. So if students are interested in potentially transferring to Sacramento State University, this is an opportunity for the student to schedule an appointment with one of their advisors, and they can look over their transcripts, they can advise them. Encourage your students to either stop by the counseling office, call us, or visit us through our virtual office, and we would be more than happy to schedule an appointment for Tuesday, February the 6th. And I'm going to turn the time over to Angel.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to take a quick minute to welcome one of our new staff members, Ruby Montoya. She has joined us a little over almost 2 months now. Time flies, right? She's our new student services technician working at the front in admissions and records here at the Marysville campus. Next slide, please. And I also just wanted to quick reminder of the important dates that are coming up. Time's going to go by really quick, so I'm not going to read them all off, but please remember that these dates do apply to full semester classes, and for short-term classes, the dates will vary. So you can also find these on our website if you don't have a chance to screenshot these, and they're listed under the academic calendar. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Marcy Lang.
Happy New Year, everyone. I just want to remind our campus community about the federal and state laws that regulate disability services for students in post-secondary education, and then to briefly review the 3 main areas that we must address when we're serving our students with disabilities. So colleges are mandated to provide the modifications or adjustments so students can physically access and experience the classroom environment, so students can access the course information in a manner and format that's accessible and usable for them, and so students can demonstrate what they've learned in a course utilizing alternate methods to demonstrate what they've learned. So the job of our DSPS team is to review the specific disability of a student and to identify the barriers that the student faces in the educational environment as the result of those barriers, and then to determine what accommodations and services can be provided to mitigate the barriers and to inform and or assist our faculty in the implementation of the adaptations. Next slide, please. So if a student has qualified to receive disability-related services, instructors will be notified by DSPS through 2 types of forms. If a student is going to require test accommodations, but no other service that impacts the classroom, the professor will likely just receive a test accommodation form. For an in-person class, the form will identify the amount of extended time that a student should receive on their quizzes and exams, and it'll state that the student will take their exams in the DSPS testing center. For an online class, the instructor will be asked to adjust the computer settings to extend the amount of time a student should receive when taking a test. Both the in-person and the online accommodation form have a portion for the instructor to complete and sign, and then the form should be returned to DSPS. If a student is going to require additional class supports, the professor will also receive a letter of academic accommodation, or an LAA, and that'll identify those accommodations. For example, if a student faces barriers related to taking notes in a class, the instructor will be asked to help identify a student in the class that would be willing to share their notes. Or maybe the use of Otter AI has been identified as an assistive technology tool that's been approved for the student. So all of those items will be identified in the LAA so that the teacher has a heads up about what to expect with that student. And next slide, please. And I'm not going to go through this list today, but I just want to include it in the information in the slide deck in case you want to look back at it later. And then the next slide, please. This one is a list of some of the most commonly approved accommodations in our Title V regulations. It's not an exhaustive list, but it gives you an idea of some of the things that are specifically identified in law, and things that you will likely see on those LAAs. So please remember that our DSPS team is always available to answer questions or to assist you with the implementation of accommodations. And we look forward to working together with you on behalf of our students. Thank you for your time today, and I'm going to turn it over now to Meredith Selden.
Hello, since we don't have a whole lot of time, I'll make this really quick. Primarily what I have to, well, I guess all that I have today are openings. We have tons and tons of committee openings. So if you're at all interested, I strongly encourage you to look at them. I'll go quickly through them. We have the Professional Development Committee. We have the EMP Student Success Work Group 5. And by the way, you guys have seen all these before. Melissa sent out emails. She sent out an email this morning. She sent out emails before, but if you're interested, please let me know or let them know. The next one, we have Institutional Viability Work Group, Sutter County Campus. We have the Curriculum Committee. We're looking for an at-large representative, and we're looking for full-time MESH, which is Math, Engineering, Science, and Health. You can go to the next slide. We also have, we're looking for someone on the lead committee. And then I think the next slide, there's even 2 more committees we're looking to fill. Yeah, Budget and Grant Development Committee, and then the Institutional Effectiveness Committee again. And each time I've got the person that you can contact listed, but you can always contact me or Melissa, and I can hook you up with the right person if you have questions. With that, I don't have any other Senate updates, but I want to really, really quick say, if anybody's interested, no pressure, but my daughter is a Girl Scout in this Girl Scout cookie season. If you are interested, come find me. And that's all that I have, but I think I'm supposed to hand it off to the Chancellor, and I'm not sure if he is on. If he's on, no? Okay.
I'm going to jump in and provide Dr. Pan's update. Just wanted to let everyone know that there has been a transition in the governing board officers. And so as you can see here, Sue Alves has stepped into the president role. Rick Teagarden has stepped into the vice president role, and Rita Andrews is now serving as the clerk. And then on the next slide, we will see that there were also some transitions in the membership of the board's standing committees. So the in all of the months except for January, the board has committee meetings that meet and really sort of more intensely dive into their work prior to those items appearing in the board's business meetings that occur once a month. If you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out to Dr. Pan, or certainly I will do my best to answer as well. And with that, I think we're going to invite our bookstore manager, David Medina, is joining us today. David, did you have anything you wanted to provide as an update?
Yeah, we've been extremely busy at the bookstore. So I want to give a quick shout out to the entire faculty and staff. This was by far our most successful adoption campaign that we've ever had. The impact of that is that we were able to order books much earlier than we usually are, because we're always waiting on information. We pretty much filled up the bookstore. All the aisles had books. What's great about that is we've had EOPS, TRIO, MESA, Puente, all those programs are helping students. We're going to help probably over 600 students get books, because of the hard work that their teams are doing. Trio's doing a fantastic job, but having those adoptions in has allowed us to serve those students earlier than expected, which allows us to order more books. So we have more books coming so that our students on the first day of class have the selection and the titles that they're looking for. But a lot of support from the bookstore. Thank you for everyone. Thank you to everyone. Currently working with the Office of Instruction. Thank you, Jeremy, for the support. You know, especially helping the students with all the YuZoom stuff, all the low-cost text material. That's going to be great. So really, we're off to a great start this semester. Nothing but thank yous to everyone on this call and all the teams, because it really has taken everybody. It has been a lot of work for us, but you know, I guess this is why we do it. But it's been nice to see a lot of the students get the books that they need, and walk out of here happy when they know that $200 from EOPS stretches a long way, especially when you go the digital route. And some of these books are in excess. You know, a physical textbook could be in excess of $300, depending on the title. But I mean, it's nice to see that students walk out of here with all their books, and you know, taking them over to Trio, and Trio's able to help them, or walking them over to Mesa, and Mesa's able to help them. EOPS, WIOA. So there's so many programs out there that have been helping our students. So just a shout out to everyone, to the support. Jeremy, especially, thank you. Football programs, reach out. We're going to order some football tees for them. They want them for recruiting purposes. We won a game, so hey, that's the start. Next is a championship next season. But thank you to everybody. That's all we have. We really look forward to working with and continuing to work with everyone. All the print shop materials are in, all the titles. So we're ready to help students.
Great. Thank you, David. That brings us to Q&A. We have 1 minute left, but if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute and ask those.
Oh, no question, but just a thank you to David. This is Walter Masuda from Puente. Thank you for getting our books in early. I'm going to take them and distribute. You know, Puente buys the books for the students. So I've got the books ready to pick up. I'm going to do that when I come to campus on Thursday to do the part-time orientation. I'm going to pick up the books and have them ready to give to the students on the first day. So thank you for getting those books in such a timely way for us.
That's great. Okay, well, we'll be here for a couple of minutes, but thank you, everyone. We will see some of you in the next couple of days. Otherwise, we will see most of you next week. Hope you all have a great start to the semester.